My name is Sin Elias. I'm the owner of Crescent City Conjure, and today I wanted to talk about legal work as it pertains to hoodoo, root work, and conjure. Our legal system isn't always fair. There are a lot of prejudices and preconceived notions that come into play when people are trying to decide innocence. So we use hoodoo, root work, and conjure to survive and create balance where there is imbalance. So when the judge or jury or the lawyer or attorney that is responsible for carrying out the case fairly are allowing these prejudices and preconceived notions to get in the way of true justice, this work can cut right through it. It usually results in lost documentation. It usually results in people telling the truth, even when it's not the most beneficial thing for them. It results in your client or the lawyer having a different level of confidence and sympathy or empathy in the case, allowing them to power through and put in some extra hours to make sure everything goes as planned. Legal work isn't as simple as just dressing one candle. There are several aspects of it. Once again, we want to make sure to deal with our client, the attorney, the judge, and the jury. So the first part is to deal with our client. To prepare my client for their legal case, I want to make sure that they are confident and clear of mind to walk into the court case and project innocence, to project their stance and to be as eloquent as possible so that they can do everything possible to win. The way that I do that is by fixing a male figure candle if the client is male, a female figure candle if the client is female. Other things that you're going to need are a pen, Crown of Success powder, and Gwinnett Court oil. So I begin with carving my client's information into the candle. So I usually do their first, last name, and date of birth on their chest. After I carve in their first and last name and their date of birth, I write clarity on their head so their head can be clear. I carve in right action onto both their left and right arms. I carve strength onto each leg. After my candle is nice and carved, I take my Crown of Success oil, pour a little bit into my hands, get a nice and even spread, and wipe the candle down with Crown of Success oil. While I'm wiping the candle down, I'm reading Psalms 35 for divine grace and mercy. After my candle is evenly coated with the Crown of Success oil, I dress it in the Crown of Success powder. You want to make sure to get a nice and even coat. You should have your client's personal concerns like hair, nails, blood, a picture of them. Get a nice coat, nice even coat of that Crown of Success powder on the candle. The oil is going to help them win at court. The Crown of Success powder is going to give them confidence needed to actually follow through with that. After my candle is nice and coated in Crown of Success powder, I put their picture with a prayer on the back to their ancestors and any angels that they walk with to come and gather around them for this case. I place the candle on top of the picture and light it, and I say prayers continuously until the candle burns down. I always work with my client first because they are the case. They are going to have to convince their lawyer. They're going to have to project a certain attitude in court. So I want to begin with my client. At this point, I also give my client instructions such as try to make their attorney sympathetic to their case, always plead with their attorney so that their attorney does the best that they can do, to never admit to guilt if they are innocent. In our legal system, that's one of the quickest tricks that they'll try to play. They'll want to strike a deal by convincing the client that pleading guilty is the right way to go. You do not want your client to do that. I always send my client the Psalms that I'm using so that they can say the Psalms every day until the candle burns completely down, or for whatever duration I need for them to feel confident. I usually follow up with them about where they're at mentally and spiritually. All right, so the next step is to work on the judge. Anyone who knows me knows that I like to work with dolls. I work with dolls when there is something that I'm going to continuously be doing and I want a spirit present. So I have a legal altar set up, and I can do work on this doll even when I don't have a case, to continue to imbue it with power. We're not going to go over the steps of how to bring a doll to life or give it power in this video. Maybe in a later video that's going to take a little too long. There is a process to call a spirit into a doll. It involves fixing their head and their body with certain charms, and certain rituals are performed over them. But for right now, what you need to know is I usually tie my clients' legal information like a document that outlines the specifics of the case to their gavel, so that the judge will rule in their favor, and the doll is fixed to be sympathetic to my client. Now, you don't have to make an entire doll. You could use a figure candle, or even just a representation of the judge themselves. I've seen people use sweet jars in this case to shake the judge up and to make them sympathetic to the client. I like the doll because I can constantly just throw power in it, throw power in it, throw power in it. You can purchase a pre-made doll and then fix it if you know how to. You can also baptize certain things in a specific way in order for them to walk with a certain amount of power. After I fixed my client's information to the gavel, I say certain prayers over the doll, and I also attach personal concerns of the judge themselves if my client knows who the judge is. Usually they don't, so I like this representation of just any judge that will be watching over the case. The last part of the work is to affect the jury or anyone who's involved in the case that you may not know. I do this by using a piece of documentation that's directly related to the case. So there's usually some type of paperwork or summons that's involved in the case. I want to send this message of innocence and fairness out to all 4 directions. So I'm going to use 4 blue candles. Now, this thing is really handy. If you don't have it, you can just stand the candles up in the general directions. You want to know where the 4 cardinal points are and face the candle in those directions. All right, so you want to start with 4 blue candles and dress them with Gwinnett Court oil. While I'm dressing these candles, I'm reading Psalms 93, and I'm asking for blessings. I'm asking for fairness. I'm asking for the legal case to go in the direction, and anyone involved to be open and willing and receptive to the potential innocence of the individual. After I dress each candle, I place them in the appropriate direction. At the very center of these 4 candles, I have a master candle. Now the master candle is going to be dressed with Gwinnett Court oil and Low John or Southern John powdered. So this is the whole root. I'm going to powder it and dress the top of the candle with the Southern John root. Underneath the candle, I'm going to write a petition which outlines my intention. After that is all set up, I'm going to say prayers as I light each 4 candle, and then finally the master candle.
The throne is for everlasting, and thou art established. Even the earth stands still based on the work that your ancestors and the divine have done for you.